breaking down Psychic Fever's Temperature, the choreography video. This dance is actually all about making the dance actually look easy and look like you're not trying at all, and a lot of the movement is actually loose, meaning that you don't want to go too hard with some of the movements and gotta have that character, gotta have that attitude and confidence. Let's go and break this down. Don't forget to subscribe, and let's go, baby. I think this intro is just gonna show some of the, not some of the members, but slow shots of all the members, I think, until we get to the actual dancing. But yeah, they're gonna actually start off with like a subtle groove to get into the actual choreo, and that's what gives us the cool guy character. So even when they start the footwork, right, it's very smooth and it's not choppy, and they're not really going full out. They're adding energy to certain moves so that way you can get contrast from the movement. Especially even like when they're using their shoulders and they're using their chests. If you pay attention to the footwork at the very beginning, they actually hit that on the heavy bass. Most of the time with choreo, especially with a lot of choreographers, they're gonna hit that bass really hard. But with them, they wanted to exude this character of, this choreo is easy, I want to make this look effortless, so they start off with this like really smooth footwork right on the bass. And this gives us the idea of like, oh yeah, they got this shit. And then pay attention to like how they actually use their shoulders, and there's a certain bounce to when they switch around with the formations. And when they get to that chest rolling part, they're not really going full out, but they're rather just kind of like making it relaxed rather than being all tense. They will tense it up and add energy to when they hit some basses in part of the songs, when they have like their arms straight. But for the most part, they're not really trying to kill the choreo, but they're rather displaying a character and attitude instead, which in this case would be stage presence. I'm gonna go back a little bit because I kind of want to go back to, or I want to talk about this section right here. This is where they kind of go out a little bit more full out. So like with this small section, this is actually my favorite part in the choreo, is that this is where they kind of pop off a little bit, but they don't overdo it. They kind of give us more energy from just that last part, and then when they get into this small section, they're gonna give us a little bit more energy, and they go back into that laziness, the oh, I got this shit is easy type of attitude. And like, I love that. And so this part right here where I think they hit the snare with their footwork and legs, yeah, that part right there, it's not even stiff. Think about being loose with this footwork as well. There's a lot of I think a lot of times when you try to be loose within choreo, you also have to be able to know how to use your hips and know how to kind of quickly think on your feet as well. Because there is a lot of footwork in this piece, or in this choreo, especially this part right here. So I think what's cool is that they showed a little bit more energy here as well. They kind of did a little bit more of a combo where it's not so easy. It's more so like, yeah, we kind of have to go hard a little bit so we can show you that we don't have to look like we're not trying. We can still also go off. It's also to match the tempo of the rapping as well. And that was really smart in a way to get the rest of the members back into the formation. So pay attention to right after the footwork combo, they're actually going to do this like groove where the 4 members in the back will use that same groove but in the opposite way to get back into formation. I'm gonna try to go back a little bit more. Yeah, and then they'll all catch up together and they'll use footwork to get back into these like formations. And it's really genius to kind of like, instead of walking or running to your spots, using footwork or a groove to get to your spots is like another way to get your dancers into certain spots of the formation. And based off of like just that switch up, right, where he's like playing off with the camera, you can use this as a reference to be like, this is the character that they're trying to show us. So essentially, like, you could use them as reference to be like, oh, I get it, like this is how they want us to perform it if you guys were to cover the dance. I love this next part right here. They match the tempo of the basses in the back. So essentially what they do is they speed up the entire choreo to match those basses with just like a whole like a short combo to kind of throw us off, to be like, oh, instead of being slow, they come to this part of the song and essentially do a really quick combo that's like, it's like a kill off in a sense. Yeah, like I love that part because it matches the tempo and of that actual part. And they go back into like being smooth. Like if you guys watch the footwork, it's almost like it's slippery on the ground. Like that's what I like to kind of help you guys visualize, is that when you guys watch this part of the footwork, right, it looks like the floor is not sticky, but rather like it's just slippery, so that they could do the footwork that much easier. And the reason why it also looks more loose is that they use their shoulders and hips while doing their footwork, right? And in that footwork, they actually kind of place their heads in a fixed point, so it looks like it's isolated, and that's why it looks like everything else is more loose. Yeah, I love like where they kind of go back to those lines with their arms after the chest rolls, because that's when you can tell they kind of give a little bit more energy because they're hitting the basses in the back. Yeah, the basses and the snares. There's like a little reverb right there. And then, like if you watch their facials and the way that they're performing this piece, the facials themselves are not actually like super animated, right? It's more like raising the eyebrows, smiling, smirking, because they don't want you to know that they're trying hard. Even though like they're not actually trying hard, which is good because that's the character that you want to actually exude. So a lot of the facials would just be like smirking, raising the eyebrows, making it look like you don't really care. And that's not a bad thing because it's based on character. I'm gonna go back just a little bit. They speed it up here with footwork. I think that entire time they had a footwork combo for this verse. So I'm actually gonna go back to his verse, because if you pay attention to the footwork there, you're gonna see that they do like almost like an entire footwork combo to match the tempo of the rapping part. And this, in a way, this will pick up the energy and give us a little bit more contrast from the entire choreo. And they slow it down here. They kind of walk around a little bit, kind of like a loverboard type shit right here. Again, they're being a little bit more loose now. They got this little groove right here. I actually really like the musicality that they hit there with like the won't sound. It's really hard to kind of point out when I can't really describe the sound, but I'm gonna go back to that entire combo just to kind of show you guys. Boom, boom, boom. Right here. Right here, right here, right here. It's hard to explain. They go back to the chest choreo. And again, they do a good job of applying energy when there needs to be energy in certain moves. And I think that's what's important with this choreo when it comes to, like, I guess performing it, and if you were to cover it, you have to know when to apply that energy. This song's really catchy, and I think the dance itself really has that feel of like, I'm really cool, I'm not gonna try too hard, but this shit is still gonna look sick. And if you're trying to cover it, make sure you just pay attention to you literally just watch the guys perform the piece and you'll get it. You just have to make it look like you're not trying. That's basically what it is. But I really enjoyed breaking this one down because the song was freaking dope and I love the dance. So if you guys like Psychic Fever, go ahead and subscribe. I'm out. Peace.